a quiet night at a small-town emergency call center, Laura was the lone night shift operator. The place was usually peaceful, with only a few calls coming in throughout the night. But tonight was different. At precisely 3:00 a.m., the phone rang. Laura answered, but no one was on the other end. She could only hear heavy breathing. After a few seconds, she hung up, thinking it might have been a wrong number or a prank. But the phone rang again. This time, Laura recognized the voice. It was her own. The caller repeated her name over and over, each time with a more urgent tone. She was unnerved, but she hung up once more, convincing herself it was a prank. An hour later, the phone rang again. This time, there was a message left on the answering machine. The message was chilling. "I'm right outside your window, Laura." She rushed to the window but saw nothing. The silence outside was deafening. She sat back down, trying to calm her racing heart. Minutes later, her phone rang once more. This time it was a police officer informing her that a deranged individual had escaped from a nearby mental health facility and was in the area. Laura's blood ran cold as she realized that the phone calls had been a sinister premonition of the danger that lurked outside. She spent the rest of the night locked in the call center, jumping at every creak and whisper, waiting for the sun to rise. Story 2. The Vanishing Co-Worker. Jake was a security guard working the night shift at a large old factory that had been shut down for years. It was a job he took out of necessity, despite the factory's reputation for strange occurrences. One night as he made his rounds, he noticed something odd. His co-worker, Anna, who usually worked alongside him, was missing. This wasn't unusual, as she often wandered off. But tonight she was supposed to be at the control room with him. Jake called Anna's phone, but it went straight to voicemail. He searched the building calling out for her, but there was no response. The only sound was the distant hum of the factory's old machinery. In the control room, Jake found a series of eerie, distorted surveillance tapes. The tapes showed Anna walking through the factory, but her movements were jerky and unnatural, as if she were being controlled by some unseen force. Jake felt a chill run down his spine as he noticed something disturbing. The Anna on the tape was not only moving erratically but seemed to be looking directly at the camera, as if aware of his presence. He continued searching, growing more desperate. As he reached the main entrance, he saw Anna standing outside, her back to him. He called out to her, but she didn't turn around. When he finally reached her, she vanished into thin air, leaving Jake alone in the dark, cold night. The factory was never the same for Jake after that. He would occasionally hear whispers and see flickers of movement on the security monitors, but Anna was never seen again. Story 3. The Last Delivery. Maria worked the night shift at a small 24-hour diner on the outskirts of town. The diner was known for its strange occurrences, but Maria brushed off the stories as local folklore. That was until one fateful night. At around 2:00 a.m., a delivery truck pulled into the parking lot. The driver, an old man with a gaunt face, asked for Maria to help unload the crates. He claimed that the delivery was urgent and needed to be completed before dawn. Maria reluctantly agreed and helped him unload. As they worked, the old man began to talk about the town's history, revealing unsettling details about disappearances and unsolved murders that had plagued the area for decades. His stories grew more disturbing and Maria began to feel uneasy. After the last crate was unloaded, the old man asked Maria to accompany him inside the diner. He claimed he needed to complete some paperwork. As she followed him in, the lights flickered and a cold draft swept through the diner. Inside, the old man pulled out an old, tattered ledger and began to write something. He muttered to himself, and Maria could barely make out his words. Another night, another soul. Suddenly, the old man's demeanor changed. He became frantic, and his eyes widened with terror. He grabbed Maria's arm and begged her to leave with him, insisting they needed to escape before it was too late. Before Maria could react, the old man collapsed and the lights went out. When they came back on, he was gone. The diner was eerily quiet, and the crates were mysteriously empty.